Welcome back to What Is, the show where we take the most complicated topics in the universe and try to explain them before your coffee gets cold. Today, we're tackling a subject that is quite literally everything. What is matter and why is everything made of it? Look around you, your phone, your keyboard, the questionable leftovers sitting in your fridge, even the air you're breathing, and the cat that's currently judging you from across the room. All of it is matter. But what actually is it? And why is the universe so obsessed with being made of stuff, instead of, absolutely nothing? Let's start with the basics. If you look up the definition of matter in a textbook, it'll tell you that matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. This sounds simple, but it's actually a pretty exclusive club. Light, not matter. It has no mass. Heat, not matter. It's energy. Your high school crush's feelings for you? Definitely not matter. Matter is the stuff of the universe. And if we want to understand the stuff, we have to zoom in. Way in, past the cells, past the molecules, until we hit the building blocks, atoms. Now, we've all seen the classic drawing of an atom. It looks like a little solar system with a nucleus in the middle and electrons zipping around like caffeinated gnats. But here's the first weird fact of the day. Atoms are almost entirely empty space. If an atom were the size of a football stadium, the nucleus, the center part, would be the size of a small marble sitting on the 50-yard line. The electrons would be like tiny flies buzzing around the very top rows of the stands. Everything in between. Absolutely nothing. This means that you, and your house, and the entire Earth, are 99.999% empty space. If we removed all the empty space from the atoms that make up every human being on the planet, the entire human race would fit inside the size of a sugar cube. Though, granted, that sugar cube would weigh about 5 billion tons, and it would be a very awkward Sunday brunch. So, if we're mostly empty space, why don't we just fall through the floor? Why does matter feel solid? It's all thanks to those frantic little electrons. They carry a negative charge, and as we learned in middle school, like charges repel each other. When you sit in a chair, the electrons in your pants are pushing away from the electrons in the chair. You aren't actually touching the chair. You're hovering a microscopic distance above it, supported by the invisible power of electromagnetic repulsion. So, technically, you've never actually touched anything in your entire life. You can use that as a defense in court, but I don't recommend it. Now, matter isn't just one size fits all. It likes to change its look depending on its mood, or more accurately, its temperature. We call these the states of matter. First, you've got solids. In a solid, atoms are like people in a crowded elevator during rush hour. They're packed tight, they're barely moving, and they're definitely not making eye contact. This gives solids a fixed shape and volume. Then, you add some heat, and you get liquids. Now, the atoms are at a cocktail party. They're still close together, but they're moving around, mingling, and sliding past one another. They take the shape of whatever container they're in, which is why your water stays in your glass until you inevitably knock it over. Keep adding heat, and you get gas. Now, the atoms have had way too much espresso. They are sprinting away from each other at high speeds, filling up every inch of space they can find. And if you get things really, really hot, like surface of the sun hot, you get plasma. This is where electrons get ripped away from their atoms entirely, creating a soup of charged particles. It's the most common state of matter in the universe. Even though it's hard to find in your kitchen unless you're really bad at using the microwave. But let's get to the why. Why is everything made of matter? To answer that, we have to go back 13.8 billion years to the Big Bang. In the beginning, the universe was just a hot, dense point of energy. As it expanded and cooled, that energy began to transform into particles. E equals mc squared. Energy and matter are just two sides of the same coin. But there was a problem, a big one. When energy turns into matter, it produces a twin, antimatter. Antimatter is exactly like regular matter, but with an opposite charge. And when matter and antimatter touch, they annihilate each other in a massive burst of energy. Poof, gone. In a perfectly symmetrical universe, there should have been an equal amount of matter and antimatter. They should have all cancelled each other out, leaving a universe filled with nothing but light and some very bored photons. But for some reason, one of the greatest mysteries in all of science, there was a tiny bit more matter than antimatter. For every billion particles of antimatter, there were 1,000,000,001 particles of matter. That 1 in a billion surplus is what created everything. Every star, every galaxy, every taco truck, and you. We are the leftovers of a cosmic war that matter barely won. But matter couldn't just stay as floating particles. It needed to get organized. And it did that using the 4 fundamental forces. Gravity is the big picture force. It's what pulls large clumps of matter together to form planets and stars. It's the reason you stay on the ground, and why the moon doesn't just wander off because it's bored. Then you have the strong nuclear force. This is the superglue of the universe. It's what holds the nucleus of an atom together. Without it, the protons in the nucleus, which are all positively charged, would fly apart like magnets of the same pole. The weak nuclear force handles radioactive decay, which sounds scary but is actually vital for how stars burn. And finally, the electromagnetic force, which we already mentioned. It's the reason atoms stick together to form molecules. It's why hydrogen and oxygen decide to hang out and become water. So, why is everything made of matter? Because matter is the only thing that could be made. It's the result of energy cooling down, a tiny bit of lucky asymmetry, and for forces that act like the universe's construction crew, matter is the hardware of reality. Without it, there would be no where and no who. There would just be a whole lot of nothing. Which, to be honest, would make for a very boring YouTube channel. So, the next time you stub your toe on a coffee table, don't get mad. Just take a second to appreciate the incredible complexity of the atoms repelling your toe, the strong force holding that wood together, and the fact that 13.8 billion years ago your coffee table won the lottery against antimatter just so it could be there to greet your foot. Actually, go ahead and be mad. It still hurts. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the stuff of the universe, make sure to hit that like button. It turns out likes aren't made of matter, but they do matter to us. What's a topic that's been weighing on your mind? Gravity, dark energy, the mystery of where the other sock goes in the dryer. Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to What Is for more answers to the universe's biggest questions. Until next time, stay curious. And try not to think too hard about the fact that you're mostly empty space. It makes it really hard to keep a straight face at work. Thanks for watching.